Hello everybody. Welcome fellow user group leaders. Welcome trailblazers to another ISV series episode. Today our ISV guest company is FormAssembly, who are bringing a very nice demo of their powerful data collection product. It's also called FormAssembly. And as you can see here, we will be having a brief intro by Nathalie, who will also do the demo. She's an account executive at FormAssembly. The main part will be dedicated to the live demo, and in the end, we'll be having a Q&A. So for that purpose, we have a Q&A channel, which I would kindly ask you to use. And then we'll be taking it from there. You can also raise your hand if you have an urgent question, of course. We are proudly doing this in collaboration with several other user groups, and we have Thomas Payne from the Frankfurt user group with us. Over to you, Thomas, to greet also our audience.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm happy to be here and very, very excited about a no-code data collection. I haven't been extremely involved in development, but I have coerced a few people on the topic, so I'm happy to find out about the new tool that'll help us moving forward. We in Frankfurt are a user group with about 400 to 500 members, so we've been around for about 9 years, myself and the other leaders in our group, and we're happy to support and help. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out directly. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Maybe other user group leaders can chime in when they join later, like for the Q&A, and say a word. Yeah, I would say let's get started. So I'll unshare my screen. And yeah, Nathalie, let's go. The stage is yours.
Great, thank you so much, René. I hope you can see my screen, you guys. Can you just let me know? Beautiful. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for participating today to our FormAssembly webinar. My name is Nathalie. As René already mentioned, I'm an account executive at FormAssembly, and I'm really delighted to share this webinar with you today. So today's goal is to give you really a high-level overview of how FormAssembly can make Salesforce more efficient, streamline workflows, and improve data quality. As you can see on this slide, which I'm sharing with you, please feel free to scan the QR code to visit my LinkedIn page. I'd love to get connected with you there for a more for a more consultative approach tailored to your specific use case. You're also very welcome to reach out to me via email. So you can also book a call with me. I've got also the QR code there. My contact details are provided on this slide. Right, so just to move on, here is basically what to expect in today's agenda, as you can see there. So first of all, we'll go through a brief introduction to who we are and the added value that we bring for Salesforce admins and users. We'll then move on to a live demo showing practical examples of building forms and workflows in real time. And last but not least, we'll go into a Q&A session with my colleague Tom today, who's our solution engineer at FormAssembly. So Tom will be answering any question you have with regard to our SaaS solution. So hello, Tom. I hope you can you have already joined. And before we dive in, please take a moment to scan the QR code on this slide. By doing so, like you can see it on the right-hand side, by doing so, you'll automatically enter our giveaway, which is a chance to win a Salesforce certification voucher worth of $250 or a Visa gift card worth of $50. So please go ahead and scan it now. What else can I say? Make sure to stay until the end. Those of you who already scanned the QR code, send me a Q in the chat function, please. Then I can see. Don't be so shy. Okay. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you for being so interactive. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Eduardo. Beautiful. So I'm seeing more and more people sending a Q. Again, we'll share the QR codes later on with you guys. So actually, you know what? This is a very effective way to communicate. And let's continue with some quick questions before we start. I just want to make sure I get to know you a bit better before I start sharing more information on FormAssembly, right? So let me just pick up one topic that might actually accompany you on day-to-day base. In terms of data cleanup and quality, who among you spends a lot of time cleaning up Salesforce data or fixing duplicates? Send me a D for data, please. Okay. Oh, D. Thank you. Okay. I see. This is an issue, guys. Okay, great. Thank you so much. D. Something else to raise: Salesforce integration. Who finds it tricky to pre-fill forms, use dynamic pick list, or integrate external data into Salesforce? Please send me an S for Salesforce integration. Any S here? S. Okay. Hello from Brazil in between. Great. S. Amy, great. Okay, I see. Thank you so much. And next question, maybe with regard to workflow bottlenecks. Who deals with slow, multi-step processes or approval bottlenecks? Send me a W for workflow, please. Okay, great. I see Amy. Jacqueline, Raquel, thank you so much. Thanks. Wow, I can see. So these are basically issues that help me understand better where you face the biggest challenges. And actually, this leads me to the next slide, right? So just a quick introduction about us. FormAssembly has been a Salesforce partner since 2008. And with our no-code form and workflow builder, you can basically collect unlimited data, integrate seamlessly with Salesforce, and ensure GDPR compliance with EU-based data hosting. Our customers, as you can see, come from a really wide range of sectors, right? So from Harvard and Oxford University to Eurostar, 𝗙ance, and the Mayor's Fund for London, just to drop a few examples. The University of Oxford actually streamlined its data collection by centralizing 137 forms on FormAssembly, ensuring brand consistency and automating Salesforce integration. Moving on to another example, like Animal Advocacy and Protection, you may have heard of them, AAP Foundation. They enhanced operations by integrating 50 multilingual website forms with Salesforce, and of course, streamlining tour bookings and data collection. And if I were to think of 𝗙ecie in France, they optimize insurance workflows with FormAssembly and have achieved 15 years of time saving, guys. So this is just one client I worked with recently, but it could be much higher than this. If you go to check out some case studies, some of our clients are saving up to 26K per year just by using our solution, right? And just to move on, with the next slide, we're not just claiming it. Thousands of organizations across every industry, as you can see, including healthcare, financial services, education, nonprofit, and government, have seen it proven. The common thread: less manual work, cleaner data, faster workflows, and more time to focus on what really matters. We help Salesforce admins and users from over 6,000 organizations worldwide to solve common challenges. So simply put, if I were to summarize, I would say our platform helps you collect, connect, and protect the data you need to run your business effectively. It all starts with our easy, no-code, but powerful form builder, which you will see in a second. And with robust validation fields, your records stay accurate and reliable. When it comes to data quality and pre-fill, Salesforce pre-fill reduces errors and prevents duplicates. That means that basically information flows right into your form, so users only update what's necessary. With Salesforce and integrations, you can pre-fill, as already mentioned. You can use also dynamic pick lists and connect external data seamlessly. We integrate with Salesforce natively, plus more than 30 other systems if you need them. We also help you connect and automate, very important. So by integrating with tools like Google Sheets, PayPal, Stripe, and you name it, you can break down data silos and automate secure data flows across departments. No more manual transfers or loss of information. And with workflows, which we will show later on, FormAssembly helps you eliminate bottlenecks. So you can basically automate multi-step processes, route submissions for approvals, and sync everything into Salesforce in real time. What we do is really quite simple. We make it easier for you to move information from the people you serve to the processes that power your organization safely. Now, let's take a look at the platform, but before we do that, please remember to scan the QR code if you haven't done so already. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah, it's there now.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being so communicative with me. So great. So guys, basically, as you can see here, these are all the forms that I have, right? And over time, you will have lots and lots and lots of forms like I have already. And basically, today's focus is going to be on a few points. Some key highlights from scratch: unlimited forms and responses, efficient form management with search filters and tags, as you can see, high-level introduction into our form builder, which is here, as well as our workflow builder. So the structure is very clear, very easy to find. There is much more to share, but today's session is designed to give you a taste of how FormAssembly can make your life as a Salesforce user more efficient and fun. And again, those of you who want to have a personal exchange on your specific use cases can contact me directly via email, right? So let's get started. How can you create a form? This is very simple. I would like to start introducing us to our AI assistant. As you can see, that's a new feature that we just released very recently. And what you can do is already ask your AI assistant, if you want, to actually create a form for you. So let's say, for example, please create a, let's say, web to lead form that Salesforce admins would love to use. Right? We'll just give him a task, we'll let him work, and we'll get back to his work later on. Meanwhile, I would like to show you another way of creating a new form. What you have in terms of possibilities is that you're very flexible, whether you'd like to create a blank form, like start building a new form from scratch, or whether you'd like to choose a template and customize it to your needs, or whether you'd like to clone a form from an existing one and modify it to fit to your current needs. What you can also do is actually use one of our newest feature release, which is file to web form, where you can upload a file and convert it into a digital form. So let's just select a file. And let's see here, I'm just going into my, my survey folder. I will just select one survey that I have, and I will ask basically FormAssembly to create a form for me. And while I'm having this process, I'm moving on again to another tab. Another way of creating a form, which a lot of Salesforce users just love, is by connecting to Salesforce and basically to choose fields in order to create the forms. So let's just go into a concrete example. And while I'm connecting basically my account, I would like to share further information with you. So how can you access FormAssembly? You can log in directly through your browser, but we also offer a Lightning app, so you never have to leave Salesforce, right? This seamless integration ensures a smooth workflow without switching between platforms. That means FormAssembly is like a window within Salesforce. Obviously, beyond usability, security and compliance are key priorities. FormAssembly supports also multi-factor authentication and single sign-on with Salesforce, providing robust protection while keeping access simple and secure. And as you can see here, I'm just selecting an object. Let's say, for example, I would like to select, let's say, the account, the contact. Beautiful, there it is. And I'm just selecting some fields here, like birthday, that sounds good. And as you can see, as I'm selecting basically some fields here, this is where my form gets built, as you can see here. So I'm just gonna select a little bit more, like email, that sounds good. First name, why not? Let's have also last name and so forth. As you can see, I'm creating here this form. And basically what's really important to mention is that we can map to any standard or custom object. The magic really happens once you save this form here. This is where you'll be able to actually head to the connectors and to do all settings. So you will see that in a very few seconds. You click here, and this is where basically you're able to do all the work. I'm not going to dwell on this right now. Again, we're just showing the software on a high level. I'm respectful of the time, but this is one possibility that a lot of Salesforce users just love to actually use. So we're just going back to the form list, and as you will see, the form that I've just saved will appear here. Meanwhile, let's have a look at my AI agent assistant. Beautiful, great work, excellent, wonderful. So here's an example of what the AI assistant actually created, by just getting a little briefing. And as you can see, he was also informing me about every step of his actions. And he's also saying here, perfect, I've created a comprehensive web-to-lead form that Salesforce administrators will absolutely love. Here's what makes this form exceptional for SF admins. We've got key features like, for example, complete lead qualification data, company intelligence, industry, company size, annual revenue, lead source tracking, advanced lead source scoring fields like multi-select checkboxes for different product lines. We've got a timeline, budget range, and so forth. So basically, based on a few lines, the AI was able to actually customize my needs within these fields, which the form has captured. Not to mention that the form has captured all the essential data points that Salesforce admins need for effective lead management, scoring, and routing, right? And basically, we are being asked also to save the form now so that we can customize it even further. So that's a very good base that the AI has actually provided us with. Not to neglect that the AI has also taken into consideration privacy and communication issues, such as, for example, marketing communication consent, privacy policy agreement. So what we make sure is basically that our AI is also compliant with any GDPR matters, as well as high level of security, which is one of the biggest USPs that we offer. Now, let's do what the AI asks us to do. So let's save basically the web-to-lead form. Beautiful, we save it. And now, next step, obviously, we feel that it's a little bit blank, right? It needs some more color. So what we can do is if we go over to themes, we can put some branding there. As you can see, I've got here lots of private themes, basically, and public themes that will enable me to customize the branding. And I can name them accordingly. So let's say I would like to have I call it always the coffee house branding. I can apply it, and as you can see, my form actually immediately gets some appropriate customized branding. Why do I mention customized branding? Because if you go there on customize, this is where you will be able to actually put every little detail with regard to the branding issues. So you can adapt all the forms that you have, regardless of the use case, where you have unlimited amounts of forms, exactly to the branding style guide that your company uses. And what more, you can even drop your custom CSS in there. Isn't that great? That facilitates a lot of work. It reduces a lot of hours of hard work in order to have your form customized to your branding. Another feature or another thing to mention with regard to a form builder is that obviously you are also very flexible in terms, of adding content. So if you go on to add content, you have the possibility to put text, to have text inputs embedded, text areas, radio buttons, multi-select lists. You can do file uploads. You can also drop different pages if you have different, like a long survey or field sets, or you can even group topics. You can even, for example, let's say we want to have an image. So we want to upload, for example, a picture here. I'll just take this one and I'll just give the kid a name, logo. And there you go. The picture will appear here. Beautiful. Great. And as you can see, it's very easy to use because it's a no-code platform, drag and drop. So what I will do actually is I will change the order of the picture and I will put it right at the top. Right? And there you go, as easy as that. Within a few seconds, I have a ready-to-use form that will hopefully touch every heart of all the hearts of my customers. And there are a lot of things that you can additionally do. You can also use predefined content. Let's say, for example, you'd want to add, let's say, oh yeah, payment info. Why not? For example, banking info, credit card details, something like that. You know, you have all the different choices, basically. Not to forget to save in between. That's always good. Apart from that, you also have very robust field setting possibilities. So for example, if you go there, if you click there and you go on to choices, you will be able also to do either some manual input, or what you can do is you can upload a CSV data set, or you can directly work from Salesforce. So let's say, for example, I'll just connect my account again, and I'll just select whether, for example, I would like to do Salesforce pick listing, or I would like to look up for an object. You have very robust possibilities here, and I can select any object and then obviously pick list the appropriate field. Again, this pre-filling action, I would say, will reduce also, a lot of time, errors, and will leverage the data quality that you guys are looking for. If you click on choices, not on choices, sorry, I'd already showed this one. If you click on options, you can also set some further validation rules. For example, is this a required field? Yes, no. Would I like to check to have the checkboxes rather appear in radio buttons or in multi-select list? It's totally up to you what you need, or a drop-down menu. You can also define further criteria, for example, whether you need to add some contextual help for the people to understand what's behind it. You can add also conditional rules, like, for example, depending on what answer has been given, then the next question will be popping out. This can be as complex as you wish. We can also insert menu dependencies. As you can see, repeatable options, one field which is, or one area which is very much used, especially for NPS surveys, are calculations, right? And again, not to re-mention what I've already said early on, but our form builder is very much aware of security. So basically, you can also manage sensitive data as to ensure, for example, that it's compliant with security issues, as to have them masked and so forth. Right. So again, this is a very high-level introduction of our form builder. You also have the possibility basically to have this form adapted not only for your laptop, but also for your tablet or for your mobile, right? So you've got the flexibility to be digitally present online through all possible devices. Now, remember what we also had done earlier on, is that we actually uploaded we downloaded actually a form that I had a survey, a PDF survey, and look at that. This is a result that I've got here. So basically, FormAssembly has been able to take over all the questions that I had on my PDF survey, around about 26 questions. And again, here, same rule, you have the possibility to customize it. So let's say this time I would like to have FormAssembly. Oh, I've got it there. I would like to have this branding, so you can just put it within 1 second, you just give it a new face, right? And again, you can change any question as you may wish to do. So that's basically one part of the presentation today. I would like to switch onto the second part of our presentation, looking at our workflows. Let's give you some time to breathe, and myself too. Now, you may be asking yourself, workflows. What does she mean with workflows? Very good question. If you have complex data collection processes that require, for example, manual approvals or multiple form steps, FormAssembly workflow is exactly what you need to use. Let me just give you an example. Supposing you have a form that, when submitted, will face different paths because it's a conditional history that will take place. Like, I'm not talking about conditionals that are relating to individual fields as already shown in the form builder. No, I'm talking really about conditionals outside these fields, like which relate totally to the form, like which will basically anticipate different paths and a different journey of actions, of data flow and whatnot. This is exactly where the workflow of FormAssembly comes into play. And again, same rule, it's no coding. You can create unlimited amount of workflows, so you're not limited to, with regard to your use case, to any restriction, right? And let's just give an example, and I think it will be more clear in a second. As you can see, it's kind of like Canvas, so it's very visual. Let's say, for example, we have here a form that that a respondent has submitted, and dependent on his respondents, there will be different paths that will take place. So, for example, each different path will basically lead to another step and another content, be it, for example, that there will be another redirect to another page with another content, another notification email, or maybe one path will actually lead to another form, and so forth. So basically, you can deploy all the processes you have with regard to your individual use case within the workflow. And if I click here, I think my explanation will be better and more clear. As you can see, you can add as many steps as you wish. For example, to decide I would like to move to another form, I would like to add additional conditionals, I would like an email to be sent out automatically, I would like to insert an approval step before the process continues, and so forth. As you can see here, we also have the possibility within the workflow to actually connect our native connectors. And of course, one of the most, I would say, interesting connector I would want to share with you today is our Salesforce connector, because that's also a newly released feature that we have our Salesforce connector also embedded within the workflow. So again, it's bidirectional. We have different integrations. You can push data into Salesforce in real time, but you can also do pre-filling and lookups. So you have the possibility to cover all these processes within within the workflows. Meanwhile, I'd like to mention that we have also a lot of other native connectors, as you can see, be it Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, Google Drive, SharePoint, you name it, and a lot of other connectors that you see here. We also have a webhook connector that enables you to basically pass on information from A to B with regard to third-party applications. Very nice thing to use. And of course, we will also step into these two further features that we have here. One that is called the Advanced Document Generation, which we have also released this year, and e-signature. I'll come to these features later on. Now, let's go back to a more practical experience or explanation with regard to Salesforce Connector. So let's say, for example, I have here a little workflow, and I would like to go a little bit more into detail so that you have a better imagination of how it works, where I have a form, an application form, and I would like to make sure that basically there will be a redirect to another page. I want to send out a notification, and I want that all the information submitted will be passed on directly into Salesforce. How do I do it? As you can see, you click here and you can configure all the details directly within the workflow. Be it, for example, that you say, okay, I would like, for example, a respondents to review the response before a final submit, or I would like them to save their progress and resume the form later. You can also decide upon the form availability, who's allowed to respond actually. Furthermore, let's have a look, for example, at redirect to another page, just to give you a better idea of what's behind it. You can configure obviously, where the respondent will be routed to, whether he will be routed basically to a URL, or whether he would be getting, for example, a thank you message. Even there, you can customize it by using, for example, different fields, like, for example, first name, last name, whatever. We also have aliases, and we also have formulas. So you can totally customize individual messages. And that's also the same for the email notification. As you can see, you can define basically who's receiving the email. Would you like to have the attached PDF document to the email? What is the content of the email? It looks very dry here, but you can also put some customization with regard to branding also on the email level. And last but not least, let's have a quick look at our Salesforce connector. right? So obviously, first step, I would need to authorize basically my account with Salesforce, and then I would be able to step into the configuration. Now, let me just close all these little windows here because it will be easier for you to have a proper overview. Otherwise, it's just overwhelming. Great, fantastic. Again, this is just one example, right, of my personal use case. Your use case might be different, but at the end of the day, you're flexible to deploy any use case that you need. So let's say, for example, I would like to look up a contact, or I would like to create a contact, and also meanwhile create an attachment to this contact, and also update a contact. This is the way I would do it. Let's go very briefly so that you have a better idea. First of all, I would basically set the parameter, saying that the record type is a contact, and I would define a lookup query. Now, in this case, I've decided to choose the email address. Why? Because I would say in my case, in this specific use case, it's so rare that two different people would share the same email address. So let's take this one. And then I'll be also able to set some conditions, like say, if no record is found, please continue with dependent actions. If multiple records are found, pick up the most recently modified record. And this is how I would go to the next step while doing the mapping. And in order to do the mapping, what would I do? I would choose a variable being the contact idea as being a wonderful method to use this variable for my use cases to come. You will see it right now. For example, when I create a contact, I would say, I use here the variable of the contact idea, and I would say when the contact idea is blank as a precondition, this is when I would want a contact to be created. And I can also add dependencies, like say, please have it run after the lookup contact, right? And this is where I can then move on to further process descriptions and configurations in terms of, for example, doing my mapping, which is basically mapping the data from FormAssembly to Salesforce. Very straightforward. Right. Same principle goes with creating attachment and also, as you can see, updating a contact. Same idea, same logic, basically, except that there obviously would say, if the contact idea is not blank, this is when you would want to have the update, right? So again, I'm not diving too much into details. I'm mindful of the Q&A session that we have later on, also with Tom. So let me just jump into another example. And I think the next example is an example which I have seen earlier on as I was asking whether you do have faced issues with regard to data quality. Pre-filling was actually a question that raised a lot of reaction on your side. So let's have a look at this one. So I've prepared something here, and we are going to do a practical experience together, a practical example. Right. So let's say, for example, you guys have an event coming up and you want to invite people. Now, you know who you are going to invite. These people are already in your Salesforce, in your system, right? So how are you going to do it? Obviously, you will set up your workflow as to start with the Salesforce pre-fill connector. You would then decide, which is the form that the people, that will trigger basically all the responses. You will redirect to another page, send a notification email, and make sure that all the information submitted goes straight into Salesforce. What's more, in order to facilitate the whole process, you will also embed a step within the workflow, which is the approval step, whereas a colleague will be first reviewing basically all the results, all the information that have been submitted, and depending on this information will either approve or deny the participation of the respondent. So let's have a look how this works. And again, with regard to pre-fill, there are many ways of doing it. Now, we're going to pick up an example, which is pre-fill through URL. And I'm just going to look for my example here, which is right there. And now let's say, for example, we would like to invite Jennifer, right? We have her email address. We're going to do a pre-fill through URL link. And what will happen is that Jennifer will get this invitation, and all the information that have already been basically saved in Salesforce will be popping up automatically through pre-fill measure on the form. And she can select, obviously, where she would like to participate with regards to the event, whether it's webinar, the conference, the dinner. And meanwhile, also, she has the opportunity to actually update the data. And as you can see, most of the information is correct, except that she's no longer called summer because she got married. So now she's called winter. Great. So within a few seconds, she actually updated her form. She submits it. Thank you, Jennifer. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Meanwhile, we're going to have a look at my dev Salesforce. And as you can see, we had here Jennifer Summer. I'm just going to refresh the page. And there you go. She's called Jennifer Winter as she has entered it. So basically, through the pre-fill, she was able to, within 1 second, update her information. It has been passed seamlessly into Salesforce in real time, and we ensure that we have data quality. This is what it should be about, guys. Great. Remember the workflow? We had set also an approval step. Let's go back to it. So let's go into my emails. As you can see, I'm getting here an email from approval, FormAssembly approval required. Review approval. Right, and here I'm getting all the responses of Jennifer, and yes, I will approve her participation to the event and I will submit it. Great, and as I'm submitting it, what will happen, because I decided to do so in my workflow, Jennifer will be receiving an email, a customized email. Hello, Jennifer. We are pleased to invite you to the event you registered for. Please click on this form where you can choose whether you wish to make a charitable donation in support of the event. There you go. Just an example, just being a little bit creative, I'm just trying to show you basically that there is no limitation to your use cases. Again, you can generate as many amounts, as many forms as you wish. You can gather as many responses as you wish and also design as many workflows as you wish. Looking at the time, I would like to show you 2 more features if you allow. So remember, I had also mentioned early on that we have advanced document generation and e-signature. This might be also quite a helpful or useful tool to use for you guys throughout or within the workflows. So another question may arise at this very stage, like what is advanced document generation? Advanced document generation refers basically to a feature that allows users to automatically create custom documents based on data submitted through forms. Let's say, for example, you need a receipt, an official receipt, or you need to have, for example, a participation document for some onboarding or something like that. Anything that's got like the formal character, you can do it through the FormAssembly workflow as well. And you can even combine it with our e-signature feature within the workflow. So let me just show you an example. So again, here's the process, the workflow that I designed for it. And I'm not looking at the time. I'm not going into details. Again, it's a very, today's focus is really to have an overview, like a high-level overview. If you need further information, please get in touch with me. So as you can see here, I've designed every step of the way in order to cover this process. One little information I will share with you, though, is in order to generate this advanced document, what I need to do here in the configuration is to download a template upon which all the information will be basically created. So let's see, this is my template. I hope you can see it. For those of you who also speak in German, it's also in German. So here I've got all the fields that I want basically to be filled out, as well as a place for the signature and the date. Now, let's do a practical example. So when I go on to view, let's say, for example, it's about marketing services. We want to have an invoice request with regard to the marketing services. First name is, for example, let's take Bell. I'm not going to fill out everything here. I'm just going to take the email address. Next page, issue date. Today is the 25th. Expected payment day will be, let's say, a week later, the 2nd. quantity, let's say 20 hours, unit price, let's say 10 euro, for example, subtotal, it calculates it automatically because we've got the calculation formula, and we submit it. Thank you, Belle, for having completed the form. Please check your inbox to complete the signature. This is what we'll be doing. So your signature is requested. Review document. And as you can see, I can type in the date here as I had wanted it in my template. So today is the 25th, right? And I can sign here. I'm just going to scribble something. Great, very creative today. Click on create, next, finish. You're all set. We'll send you a copy of the final documents as soon as all parties have completed signing. Let's go back into my inbox. Signing complete. Your document is ready to review. So basically, I have the possibility to access here the document and to have also the audit log. I'll be downloading the document. Great. And I have exactly the template, or let's say the receipt, which is signed based on the template that I had basically configured into FormAssembly. Isn't that great? Great, guys. Thank you so much. Looking at the time, I have spoken enough. The time is yours now. Tom will be also joining into this session. Oh, I can see Tom. Hi, Tom. How are you? Great to see you. And basically, the next 20 minutes are all yours. Please ask any questions which arise. We have Thomas today here, who's a solution engineer, and he will be answering all the questions you have with respect to our solution. I will be sharing actually again the slide from earlier on so that you have the possibility to scan the QR code if you haven't done it yet. Give me a second and we can open the QR session. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Nathalie, for this great presentation and live demo.
Thank you.
I see that Maxlei is also here, and now a co-host, and Sarah. Would you maybe like to say a few words? Hello, hello. So, yeah, hello, Sarah.
Sorry, wasn't expecting to speak today. That's okay. Good, thank you. It was a very interesting presentation. Lots and lots of use cases. Just from my side, I think, I don't know about other companies, but I know just from my company, forms tend to go out from so many different areas of the business that it's not, you know, purely coming out of Salesforce or whatever. What type of experience have you had with other with other customers that you have? Is it also as chaotic? And would the implementation of FormAssembly be to like more of a coordinated company-wide use of one tool?
So is that rather a question for Nathalie, or
that was a
Tom,
question to well, I don't know, from FormAssembly to answer.
Tom, your mic is still closed.
Thank you, René. And Sarah, thanks for the question. Nice to meet you all. Yeah, so many of our customers do use other platforms and not just Salesforce, especially for sending out the links for marketing, etc. The links to the forms can be created and sort of composed using the URL of the form itself, and then on the end it will have the identifier. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something specifically from the Salesforce itself to send a link. On the end it could be something else. Maybe you've imported a CSV with everyone's account number on the end and it's able to fire out the URL that way, or it can use their email address, just something that will be used to identify them in Salesforce if it's going to do an update or create step in Salesforce, but it's not necessarily only pinned between Salesforce systems only. So you can send it out without the need of Salesforce for those situations where it's not needed. I hope that answers it, and if not, please clarify. Yeah,
it was more along the lines of, for example, I know in our company, the support team, we don't have support happening out of Salesforce. They're using Jira. So our support team have like NPS surveys happening, but it's all completely, you know, different. And we have more sort of marketing things happening in our Salesforce. So just, you know, it's completely heterogeneous who's using which tools. And would FormAssembly be something that could be used across different tools? How does your licensing model work? You know, would it be something that you could implement as a company-wide form generating tool that could provide information into other different sources?
Yes,
I mean, the ideal
exactly.
world, you'd have it all in Salesforce, but it's not the case.
That's right. But yes, you can definitely have that implemented. So we offer things like single sign-on. So you could have it, the users within the company would have their own login to log into FormAssembly. They can create forms, whether or not it's connected to Salesforce. It's not dependent on Salesforce. It's standalone. They're hosted on their own links. So that different department could do it. You mentioned support having Jira as their ticketing system. They could make a form for the NPS of that. They could then, via the webhook, push that data into Jira as well. So they could share the form, get their feedback, and then push it into Jira system if that's where they want to see it, push it into Salesforce at the same time if they've got it, or none. It depends on what they want to do. But it's definitely a versatile tool for any department to build forms quickly without the coding knowledge to then push it out and get that data back.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom. I'm seeing that we have several questions from Craig. Craig, if you're there, you could open your mic and ask those, because it would be more interactive if you like. Otherwise, I would read them out for you. Yeah.
Hi, so it took me just a second. This is Craig. Great to be here. Yeah, I asked a couple different questions. One was about automation within Salesforce. Can you use FormAssembly to trigger a flow or call an Apex action of some sort?
Okay, yeah, thanks, Craig. Appreciate that. So we cannot directly trigger the flow within Salesforce. However, you'd have that flow or trigger set up based on, let's say, a record field, right? So if you're going to create a record from the workflow, it creates a contact record and you have a field that says source and you set that to FormAssembly, you can have your triggers set to trigger on that. So not necessarily a direct trigger of it, but we can create records that if the flow is based on that information, they will trigger in the background in Salesforce.
Okay. Got it. My other question was about accessibility. I'm a screen reader user, and so can you speak at all to accessibility of the form builder or the forms themselves?
Yeah, sure. So I believe that the form builder, you can use the form builder to build forms, but it doesn't necessarily meet the 𝗙cie standards, but the forms that are built are. So the forms that are going out to your respondents to be used do work with screen readers, etc., and they meet those requirements. Again, it comes down to how you architecture the form. If you decide to add other content that maybe doesn't meet that need, well, then obviously that's a decision on the architect, the person making the form. But the forms do meet 𝗙cie compliance. I'll post the link in the chat as well, in the Q&A, so you can have a look at that as well.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Craig, is your question about the branding still of actuality? I'm not sure which type of file you imagine that would be uploaded, like a PDF or so.
Yeah, you were describing earlier that you could upload a file to FormAssembly and have it create a form from that. And so I was just curious if you upload like a Word doc or a PDF, if it keeps like the branding that's in the file.
Yeah, great question, Craig. So it won't keep the branding from that first creation. It takes the structure, so all the fields that it looks like it's expecting input from. Because again, you can do any file here. You can do Excel, PDFs, Word, and it will sort of read through it and think, what is it looking for when it comes to questions? It also takes into consideration conditionals. So if there's a question that says, based on this, give me more information, it will add those conditional rules in as well. But once it's built the main structure, you can then continue to interact with the AI and tell it, okay, now please match the branding of this. And you can give it a file and it will actually be able to look at the branding colors and everything and then apply that and create a theme for you that will be reusable for many other forms as well.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have another question from 𝗙cie𝗀𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 that says, how does FormAssembly data collection work with the NPSP? So that she refers to the NPSP data model and the accounts there. So I think the question is it compatible with NPSP?
Yeah, thank you, Ami, and René for clarifying. Yes, it works. It's as seamless with that. You know, Salesforce has its faces that it puts on with different packages, and the non-profit service pack, it works with perfectly fine when it comes to the account model. It can be set to, when creating accounts, it will still create an account as a person account. You can specify record type IDs. So if you needed to create an account of that specific record type, you can do that too. There's no issue on the creation of that. So it's just as seamless no matter what sort of package you have.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah. Do we have further questions from the audience at this stage? Maxlei, do you have a question?
Oh, thanks, René. Thanks, Nathalie, for opportunity to participation. And I have a question. I would like to know some kind of interaction with Journey, with Marketing Cloud and the Journey. What is it?
Yeah, thanks, Maxlei. The question. So we do have a dedicated Salesforce Marketing Cloud connector. So it's slightly different from a normal Salesforce connector. The usual Salesforce connector has a lot more capabilities, is a lot more in depth. The Salesforce Marketing Cloud, we can definitely create your custom data extensions and things like that. You can send information to it. And then obviously, if you have any automated journeys in Salesforce Marketing Cloud that go on a scheduled basis, then it will pick that up as well. I'm not sure if when creating the objects via the connector, it can trigger the journey. It's not something that I've personally dealt with Marketing Cloud, but I know that we can push data to it. And I know if you definitely have a scheduled journey, obviously where it checks on a nightly basis how many new things exist, do this, it is able to see that. So there's definitely some integration there that you're looking for, and there is its own connector dedicated for Marketing Cloud.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. If I may, I would, let's see, do we have something in the chat? No. I would also like to ask a small question coming back to maybe the earlier point, namely, how does FormAssembly differentiate itself from other data collection solutions in the market in terms of platform and scope and so on? Could you maybe clarify a bit on that, Tom?
Yeah, or maybe if you want, I can pick up this question.
Yeah.
Basically, FormAssembly stands out because it's more than just a form builder. If you were to ask me this question, you know, I'd be, there are so many things that I could respond, but to really summarize everything very precisely, I would say it's a secure, enterprise-ready data collection platform. So basically, unlike many competitors, it really offers direct Salesforce integration with full object and field mapping while eliminating basically manual work, which is one of the biggest burden that a lot of Salesforce users have. And it's also built with compliance in mind, supporting GDPR, HIPAA, and SOC 2 standards, making it a strong fit for industries with sensitive data. So in short, I would say better integration, stronger compliance, and enterprise level scalability. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So to share my my current understanding is that it's really quite an enterprise platform. If we say enterprise, we might think of the enterprise customer segment. And other solutions are also enterprise. So enterprise is a very ambiguous word. Let's maybe take it in the sense that, as Sarah said, it's more of a broader approach that is capable of integration due to its connectors with multiple platforms. And to my knowledge, that's not something that all the competitors, all of them, do.
Absolutely correct. And also basically just to add something, at the end of the day is like, I would say FormAssembly is particularly valuable for industries and use cases where secure data collection, compliance, and integration with other systems, not only Salesforce, are critical. And again, it's totally irrelevant how big the company is or in which industry the company is. So as you have seen maybe before in the presentation, we cover really all industries, whether it's healthcare, finance, education, nonprofit, or further sectors. Yeah, at the end of the day, really, just to summarize, maybe again, the strengths is like, it's really about secure data handling, workflow automation, and seamless integration. So it makes it really ideal for any organization that needs to collect, manage, and process sensitive information efficiently.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's great to hear. What does one have to do if one wants to test drive FormAssembly? What are the steps that are required there?
Right. So first of all, scan the QR code. First of all, please take the time to scan the QR code, and basically by that you will be able to be in touch with us. We'll reach out to you guys. You can also set up a meeting with me where, first of all, FormAssembly is about listening. FormAssembly is not just about selling a product, like just in terms of just selling economies of scale. No, first of all, we listen to you guys. We make sure that we are acquainted with your personal use case, and in terms of the formal steps, the first step would be to have a little discovery call together as to get acquainted, to have a better idea of what solutions are working and not working for you. What are your goals? What are your pain points? What are your timelines? What are your use case, and so forth? And based on that, we will be scheduling a demo as to show you basically the platform based on the information that you have shared with us. And of course, you will also have the possibility as potential users or buyers to trial the solution before you go for a final decision. Does that answer your question?
Am I able to do that autonomously if I want to download a package or to request access on the FormAssembly website without the gatekeeping part?
You would have to actually first schedule a call, and the reason for that, René, is very simple. Is because we want to make sure that you have the right solution for you. So that's basically dependent on your use case. I think it was Sarah early on who was mentioning the question, with regard to each company having different systems, different infrastructure. So this is the reason we first would want to get in touch with you guys as to hear exactly what it's about, and then present the right combination within the solution for you guys. And it's very simple. Not to extend your question, but again, it's drag and drop, no code. Anyone and everyone can use it. You don't need to be an expert, an IT expert. It's not a hard requirement, I would say, to have an engineering solution background, I would say, in order to be able to use FormAssembly.
Thanks so much for the explanation, Nathalie.
You're very welcome.
To mention that, yes, we are recording this and we'll be publishing it too. Yeah, thanks so much. In terms of licensing, we had the point brought up earlier. Could you speak to that briefly?
Yes, we do have 3 different licenses that we offer. We have in total 3 different plans that we offer to our customers dependent on their use case. So at the end of the day, we make sure that you have the perfect fit with regard to your license and with regard to the needs and challenges that you currently face.
What do they look like? Is it like per user or per form or per workflow, or how does that, how's that package look like?
Right, very good question. Thank you so much for asking this question. First of all, regardless on which plan, we use the terminology very often as to refer to a plan or because we were just mentioning package, which is totally correct also. So regardless of the plan that you decide to work with, you can use unlimited amount of forms and gather unlimited amounts of responses and unlimited amount of workflows. That's totally independent on the plan that you're in. The plan differentiate themselves with regard to specific features that we offer. And I would say the biggest differentiation that we have amongst the plans, and again, please understand that for this, I would like to have a one-on-one consultation, but the main difference with regard to the individual plan, I would say, especially between the first and the second one, is that starting from the mid plan, you would have all the workflow part included, whereas in the basic plan, you wouldn't have the workflows included. And of course, there are other differences with regard to the features, but I think the time wouldn't be enough today or right now to cover everything in detail. But does that give you a little bit of a rough idea?
Sort of.
Very rough, very rough. Well, I suggest something. Please feel free to scan the QR code, and I'll take exactly all the time that needed to go through this explanation.
Cool.
Yeah. As you say, time is flying, and we want to stay within roughly 1 hour. So thanks to all of the participants first. I hope you found it interesting. The session will be published. A final question from my side: how is the raffle handled and the voucher distributed?
As you scan the QR code, you will be basically entering your data there, and our colleagues from the marketing department will reach out to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, thanks to the other user group leaders present and for your active participation. Thanks to our fantastic presenters, Nathalie and Tom. Yeah, and hope to see you the next time. I suppose we can take further questions. So I take note of your question, Zita, and make sure it gets answered. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Great. Thank you also. Thank you from our side. Thank you, René. Thank you to all the participants. It was great sharing this information with you, and please reach out to us for more information. Thank you so much. Take care, guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.